license, in the terms of the license, will include exactly what all you can do. But typically, you could, enter into licensing deals with multiple brands, for example. And in that case, you retain the ownership and you then have a say over what you want to do with it. And usually an assignment, because it's like a one-time ownership transfer, usually it's going to be the more expensive deal as well, because you're just perpetually sort of foregoing your rights. So one is, of course, who owns the IP, and then the second is the scope of the rights. Like, this is with regards to whether the brand repurposes the content for ads, or they can edit or modify the content, right? And this will all be under the broad scope of the IP clause. Duration. The agreement must very clearly specify how long the brand can use the content, whether it is 6 months, 1 year, or perpetual. Guys, tell me, why is the duration? Why do you think the duration is important in this case? I want to hear from you all. Shubhi says, the termination of contract, the influencer. Yes, exactly. The influencer gets paid. Exactly. So depending on what the duration of the the duration of the rights is, how long the brand can use the content, will very clearly determine how long the agreement, the influencer gets paid, or how much they get paid, and conversely, how much the brand has to pay out and for how long, right? Geographic scope. This should have definitions on where the brand can use the content, whether it will be India only, specific regions, or worldwide. Also very closely linked to overall compliance, like your content will then need to comply to the laws of wherever it is proposed it'll be shown. Of course, it'll also it'll also influence the payouts as well, the revenue as well. Influencers portfolio rights, also very, very interesting. What do you think? Why is it important for an influencer to be able to use their content that they create in their portfolio? Or why should we put it in the agreement? Exactly. It's like an experience. Exactly. All of the above. Like, all of you hit the nail on the head. So that's precisely why. Because ultimately, if, let's say, this is very straightforward, right? As a law student, you like to, let's say, write blog posts or like journal articles, you publish somewhere, or you've done like a piece of contract reviewing or draft or something for someone. You want to be able to show that to prospective clients in the future, right? Kalko, if and imagine that these are brands, these are influencers that are growing, right? So if they do one or two, or if they do even one, brand deal, that influencer would want to be able to show, hey, this is what I did, as part of my this thing for X brand or Y brand, and this is part of my portfolio. And so many times, an agreement could, by omission or, I guess commission, just ignore this, or just, not mention that any portfolio rights to the influencer. This is extremely important as well. Yes. Now, reps and warranties, the third broad head. Reps and warranties are somehow my favorite because this stumps so many people, right? Have you all heard of reps and warranties? I'm sure there are some law students here who've done their internships or given interviews and been asked this or prepared this. Yes, so many people know, right? These are essentially, guys, contractual sort of, these are assurances. Representations are essentially statements of fact, right? And warranties are essentially assurances about those statements of fact. So you want to be able to hold each party liable for what they are saying is the fact situation at the time that they are entering into the agreement. And this is, again, as we mentioned at the beginning of this lesson, this is going to be a core part of basically every contract you ever see. And in this context, think about it like from a brand's perspective or from an influencer's perspective. Can we take this question? It's slightly tricky, but what do you think the influencer would want to represent? What do you think is important from a brand's perspective that they would want that the influencer assures them about? I want to advertise my product and I go to a person. Yes, bang on, reach. Exactly, exactly. Your influencer should be able, your client should be able to say, that their followers, for example, are genuine and not purchased bots, right? This is so critical right now. Instagram has been massively clamping down on bots, I think most of spring and summer this year. They should be able to say that their engagement metrics are authentic and they are not artificially inflated. Because imagine if you're inflating these metrics, you can then claim that you actually want to charge this much. But if that is false, then the entire premise on which you are contracting, it just kind of goes out. So for a brand, it's extremely important that the influencer represents and warrants these things. And obviously, they are highly specific depending on the situation. They also say that the content they create will be original, will not infringe any third-party intellectual property, right? So the brand doesn't want any liability tomorrow. They have no conflicting obligations that would prevent them from performing this engagement, and they have the legal authority to enter into the agreement. Very, very standard stuff. Now, the brand should also make representation such as, I want to hear from you guys again. It's extremely interesting. Oops. I hope none of y'all saw, but yeah, give me honest answers. What do you think the influencer would want the brand to represent and warrant? Authentic, timely pay, sure. But I think Meg, that would be more of like a contractual sort of obligation in the sense that recognition, the payout will be timely, product service genuine. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Interesting responses. Let's just look at this. So they want to be able to say that they have the rights to the IP. We've been banging on about IP. They want to be able to say that they have all the rights to the trademarks, logos, and materials that they're providing to the influencer. Because on the flip side, tomorrow the influencer doesn't want to land into trouble, right? कल को उन्होंने कोई लोगो उनको दे दिया कि आप हमारी एड में ये डाल दो, ये दिखा दो, and it turns out to be well infringed. Again, like the aggrieved party can actually come after the influencer as well. Any product claims they ask the influencer to make are accurate and can be substantiated, right? Because the influencer, again, is going to be liable if they say something which turns out to be abjectly false. And as we are going to now, in a couple of minutes, in some time also see what the legal requirements for influencers are. Bear in mind, guys, influencers are being very actively sort of regulated by the government, right? There is data on how much they are following what they're supposed to follow. So tomorrow, if they're actually in violation of any claims that go against generally the specific regulation within the sector in which they're advertising the product, they could be very well held liable, because the government will just be, or the authority will just be like, what is your responsibility when you're advertising? Okay. Just seen this. Okay. Now, one important thing to always keep in mind is that if an influencer only has warranties from the influencer and none from the brand, that is a red flag. Okay. The agreement should have warranties from both the parties. Okay. I'm saying this obviously from the influencer's side. I mean, it's a red flag from anyone's side, but I guess it would be not in favor of the influencer. Disclosure and compliance. Legal compliance is non-negotiable in India. As I just mentioned, influencer advertising is heavily regulated. Consumer Protection Act, we've all heard about this. It is the primary legislation governing this. Under Section 21, the CCPA can impose fines up to rupees 10 lakh for a first offense and 50 lakh for subsequent violations with respect to misleading advertisements. Imagine there's a influencer you're approaching with a 10K following. Do they want to go wrong and land into this kind of financial trouble? Not, right? Probably not. This is why these things are so important. And if I haven't already mentioned, guys, because this is contract drafting, we cannot, just throw our BEAR Acts out of the window. BEAR Acts are the foundation on which we build this house. So before you even claim to have, knowledge of these agreements, you will need to have knowledge of the underlying laws and regulations, okay? Influencers can also be banned from making endorsements for 1 to 3 years. Means all your monetization in your initial growth years gone. The government of India, as you may know, has been, kind of cracking down on this, especially because a lot of like creators mushroomed, during COVID, post-COVID, and it was becoming very hard essentially for consumers and people who were just, consuming content to be able to tell that what exactly is going on. Are we looking at, an actual, like, does this person actually use this product, or is this an ad? And there was that period where the lines were getting blurred, and the government of India had to step in, and it came up with these guidelines. So again, something very important that you will need to sort of have in mind: influencers must use terms, and this is all part of the guidelines and regulations. Influencers must use terms like advertisement, sponsor, or paid promotion, and the ASCI guidelines. Also, your bread and butter for influencer agreements require disclosure of any material connection with the brand. Accepted labels include hashtag ad, sponsored, or paid partnership. Okay. These disclosures must be prominent and upfront, not buried at the end. This is not an afterthought. A 2024 ASI study examined India's top 100 influencers, and 69% had failed to provide proper disclosures. Look at the size of that opportunity as recently as 2024. We don't know if this data is, if the gap has gotten wider or smaller. Why don't you try this out and tell us what it's looking like? Okay. And this is recorded data. ASC has actually done a study on this and revealed that more than 2/3 of India's top digital stars violated disclosure guidelines. Okay. This is why, we iterate that it's so important to actually appreciate what the opportunity is, because you need to be able to understand what exactly is the beast that you're dealing with. Okay. Is everyone here on board? Now we've shown you what all you need to think of when you're reviewing or drafting these agreements. We've showed you the size of this opportunity, the beginning of this class. Now I want to hear from you guys if you want to learn how to take the next step. How do you actually grab this opportunity? Type a yes in the chat. Tell me if you're interested to knowing this. Come on. I want to hear from all of those people who were very excited for us to get into this at the start of the session. All of them. Okay, brilliant. Nice. So now we're going to get right into this. Let me show you how to identify gaps in an existing influencer agreement using AI. This is actually my favorite part, and shortly it will be yours as well, because I'm just going to show you something really cool, okay? As part of today's reading material, we sent you a document explaining the parts of a contract and a contract drafting checklist. Do you guys all know this? Do you guys all know this? Did you go through the material? Did you find anything weird in the material? Anything odd? Did you see any odd? Okay, some of them have seen it, some of you all have not seen it. That's fine. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Now, how many of you actually have had to review sort of contracts in your office? And do you want to, if you want to see how we can learn, how to use it do it using AI, I'm gonna show you this step by step. So pay attention, and you're obviously very free to actually do this as we, do this live as the class is sort of going on. Before I continue, I just wanted to check if you are still seeing the presentation, or you're able to see my browser as well right now. Only PPT. Okay. Let me reshare this. Right. Okay. Basically, you are going to, first and foremost, you're going to create a Claude project, and you're going to upload a sample, and you're going to give it project instructions. And I'm going to show you in just a minute what that's going to look like.
Narayani, your screen is not visible currently.
Yes. I'm just resharing.
Yeah.
Okay, is it visible now?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, great. So, guys, Claude projects, okay. I'm sure most, if not all of you have a Claude account. If not, create it. I mean, absolutely can do ChatGPT as well, but Claude is generally, in our experience, better with this sort of thing. You go to the project section, okay, and it comes from, for if you don't know at all, you go here. I don't want to go back because then I have to start all over again. So you go to projects, you create a new project, and you sort of come here, and then you give these project instructions, okay? And we'll be sharing all of these prompts and instructions with you. I will upload a sample contract plus drafting checklist, analyze a given contract to identify what is missing, wrong, a flag, incorrect language may lead to interpretation issues, okay? And then you ask it to give you a tabular sort of output, which talks about the clause number, extractive clause, what's the issue, and so forth. Critical stuff, right? You put that in the instructions, and then you ask it to sort of do the work for you, okay? And the next sort of thing that it'll show you, and sorry, let me before I forget, you also have to upload the project files that you will be uploading, guys, are the files that we shared with you today. So you all know that we shared a checklist with you today, right? You put that checklist, you upload that checklist into the project, okay? And then you upload the agreement that we provided to you as well. And now you asked it to identify what all is wrong with it, okay? I believe this is the agreement, the draft that we shared, and this is the contract drafting checklist that we shared. So essentially upload these, you input this stuff into your Claude project, and basically, sorry, just one sec. So now we look at the result that Claude sort of gives us, okay? And this is the fun part, okay? I've just for our benefit, I've just kept it here. See, this is basically how the output will come out of Claude, okay? Look at this beautiful analysis that it's given us. It's literally given us a clause by clause, issue has been identified, and it's sort of suggested what we need to fix. I think this is genuinely fascinating stuff because you're not starting from scratch. Okay, so let's look at something that might be relevant. Okay, so for example, I mean, it's something very critical that you would want to sort of address if it's a red flag. The influencer, this is what the Claude sort of says. The influencer clause says the influencer represents and warrants that they will say, publish, endorse, or promote anything the company instructs, even if such statements may be untrue or misleading. That is absolutely not ideal for us as an influencer. If you're representing an influencer, look at the kind of things that it's straight away violating. We just discussed this, and yeah, and this is what it tells you to do. You need to delete this entirely. It is unenforceable and potentially illegal. See, this is the power of using AI the right way. It transforms what you do in your day to day. Look at the next one. Ownership of the content shall be mutually determined by the parties after publication. Extremely vague. The IP ownership must be determined before creation, not after. It creates significant legal uncertainty. Who owns the content during the campaign, and what if parties cannot agree? And then Claude suggests that you fix it by specifying all of this early, where you say that it grants the company an exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to use, reproduce, and so forth, so on and so forth. And the influencer, importantly, retains the underlying copyright and may use content for portfolio purposes with company attribution. Okay, this is what then Claude sort of tells us that you can do. Now, our job is not done here, okay? This is again, and this is very extremely important for like law students and first year lawyers and people who are also just starting out with this. AI is always and always going to be a tool. It's never going to be your colleague or your peer. It's going to be a tool. Think of AI as your junior. If you have a junior and if a junior does a piece of work for you, you as the client, as a lawyer, are not going to just send it off. You're not going to forward it to the client. You are going to read it and review it to yourself by yourself. So treat AI's work as the first sort of iteration. So Claude generates a comprehensive sort of gap analysis. If you've just seen, you will have to know how to draft such agreements to be able to even spot what can be further sort of improved or what's wrong about this analysis and so forth. Then you need to get the redrafted agreement. Then you use a follow-up prompt. Again, we will be sharing this, but it says, please redraft its agreement, correcting all errors as per your suggestions and what is regarded the best practice in the market and mutually balancing the interests in favor of both the parties. Okay, you're essentially telling Claude to redraft the agreement based on the analysis that has just come up with. And if there are gaps, you are telling Claude to use the best practice in the market. Okay. And then it shows you it gives you a redrafted agreement, which kind of looks something like this. Okay. Now, this is what sort of Claude comes up with. It literally redrafted it based on its analysis. And as I said earlier, this becomes the first draft that you work with. Okay. This is the final product that you are now going to sit with. And depending on your, instruction that you received from your client, you're going to work with this and you're going to then review this and then make changes and then send it across. Is this clear, guys? Is the workflow clear to everyone how we do this? Do we have to purchase Claude? That's a very pertinent question. Rohini, you can start with the free version, but it's usually recommended because, for heavy tasks like this, the daily usage tends to run out fast. So you can consider buying it. Gemini Pro be okay. Rajat, I have not personally tried it. I would suggest if you're doing this as client work, I would suggest you do this with some, draft, just download some sample PDFs you can find from the internet and review its work and see if it's good. How to acquire client, those who, okay, sorry, that's, can you walk through how you use Claude? Okay. I believe I just showed it. Is there anything specific, Nayak, that you would like to see? Again, guys, so we suggest and we recommend Claude, but there are several sort of, these AI sort of products in the market. You will need to do your due diligence. We cannot, say if A is going to be better than B. You will have to do the reading up, do your own due diligence. Okay. Now, any questions until this point? Are we all on board, guys? I want to hear from you because we've just gone through a lot, okay? We've just seen how Claude is going to give us a brand new drafted agreement based on the checklist, which we've already provided to you. And guys, needless to say, if you're actually using, draft agreements that have been provided to you by clients, I cannot stress this enough. And this is the kind of stuff that will get you in major trouble in any organization, be it a law firm, be it a chamber, be it anywhere else. If you put confidential stuff on a public, sort of AI, or if that AI is not being used by your organization itself, you are going to be in a world of trouble. Please don't do that. If you're doing that, please make sure that it is redacted. It is entirely sanitized. You're not mentioning any client names, no brand, party, nothing. This is AI, use of AI ethics 101, okay? And, as I just said, it's not a substitute for legal understanding. You have to evaluate whether the AI's sort of analysis is correct. And yeah, now I want to hear from you guys. How many of you are going to be trying this today? I want to here. I want to see you type me in the chat. Loads of people, loads of people. Brilliant, brilliant. That's what we want. Practical things that you can do literally after dinner today. Easy and doable. Now you can spot red flags, but can you draft the fix from scratch? Get a client to trust you. And this is the difference between a skill and a career. And that's exactly what these 3 weeks are going to be building up to. Okay, let me show you something practical to understand how to monetize this. Now, this way is going to, help you actually land clients and actually land the work that we are saying, the market is wide open for. There are 3 techniques, and I'm going to walk you through each of them. Technique number 1, you can work directly with influencers. Okay. You search Google for nano influencers in your target niche. Nano influencers, I believe, are up to 10K followers. And you, for example, can access this website. Again, we'll be sharing the links. And this basically looks a bit like this.
Narayani, your screen is again not
Yes.
visible.
Yes, sorry. Give me a second. Is it visible now?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So Grinow is, it's kind of like an aggregator, or I believe it's a marketing agency itself. So so through this link, and this is a sample link, you'll obviously look, target your own niche that you're kind of interested in working with. Look at this list, for example. Okay, it's given you a list of a creator or creators with under 10K followers. Why are we targeting under 10K? Think about it. Why are we targeting sort of people under 10K? Yes. Okay, I see as some of you are on the dot, but yeah, but actually essentially what we're trying to do here is these people, as I said earlier, it's very unlikely that they are going to have like even a mid-tier or like even a tier 2 or a tier 3 firm like representing them, because they would probably not have the money. We are targeting these people because they are just sort of growing, and 1 or 2 or 3 breakout posts, and they're really just going to, shoot up. So you want to sort of target them when they're at this stage, when they are probably already getting brand interest, when they're probably already getting their brand early sort of queries, or maybe they are doing some kind of outreach to get their brand deals, and they have no one to sort of approach. This is when you want to sort of cold approach them and, offer to help them out. And of course, we'll be getting into that in a minute, but we also want to think about how we approach them, right? That is critical. So you offer, of course, to, you reach out to via Instagram DMs or LinkedIn, whichever is better for you. And you offer to, you say, I can review your contract, or I can, draft your agreement, or you can even, if you're feeling confident about this, you can even like sort of negotiate terms for them. Okay. And we also talk about this in a second, but it's very important how you position themselves and what you actually position yourself, and what you actually say, and what you're even thinking. Are you going to be charging straight off the bat? We will talk about that in a minute. Technique number 2, working with brands. Okay. In this case, you're going to use a website like, for example, Rocket Reach to find founders of D2C companies, e-commerce businesses, beauty brands, travel agencies, and many more. And I'll show you what that's going to look like in practice. So what that looks like is basically Rocket Reach. I'll just clear this. So you open Rocket Reach, okay? It's an aggregator. You go to companies from here, and then you do apply the same sort of first principles that we just discussed, okay? Ideally, you want to, obviously look in India because you're just starting out. So you want to be very close to home, and then you go to industry. Let's say you do leisure and hospitality, because I believe that's what our reading material was about as well, right? Or let's say go to leisure travel and tourism. And most importantly, guys, when you go to metrics, okay, and then you select either 1 to 10 or 11 to 50. Let's say we do 11 to 50. Why are we choosing 11 to 50 here? I want to hear from you. Why do you think we're choosing 11 to 50? Exactly. Exactly. Small startups, similar reasoning, right? Exactly similar reasoning. They will also need help. They're also just starting out, okay? So you target them, you find someone, or you find, several of these industries, several of these companies that you want to sort of approach. And then, so you have these. So let's say you go to um, literally any one of these. Okay. Let me try. Basically, you go to their page and then you go to the people that are working there, and you straight away find the 51 to 200, it says here. Okay, so that means that perhaps the filter didn't catch this. So just to flag, we're looking at 11 to 50. Okay, so look for a smaller number of employees, and then you straight away sort of search for, founder or MD. So this guy, for example, don't message him right away, guys. We're still discussing, but yeah, for example, okay. So this is what you do. You then go to this person's profile, and you then sort of, assess sort of. Again, I believe that this is Rocket Reach has shown us someone who's not based out in India. So for all intents and purposes, you're going to target Indian companies, Indian founders, MDs, and you're going to, smaller sort of companies. You're going to find them and you're going to message them. Okay, that's the sort of key takeaway here. Now, I want to show you, this is the message that you can sort of send, such founders. I hope it's being shared. Okay, let me reshare it. So this is the message, for example, that you can share, with such the founder. So you say, hi, so and so, I'm a lawyer or law student who works closely with travel and hospitality companies, help them negotiate affordable packages with rising influencers and marketing specialists. I came across so and so company on LinkedIn, and looks like you're doing some great work in the travel space. La di da. We'll obviously share this sort of message with you, or you can, literally do a version of this yourself. I noticed that content creators and travel influencers are a big part of your marketing strategy. Then you say, I specialize in drafting influencer agreements for travel and hospitality companies. I can help you create templates that protect your current content investment and ensure you get full value from every collaboration. Now you state something, what are the kind of problems? And again, guys, the more number of people you talk to, the more you're going to be able to understand, to be able to even pitch and position yourself better. Okay. What if when influencer creates content during a sponsored trip, who owns that footage, or can you use it in your ads, and for how long, right? So think about it from the brand's perspective as well. When you're approaching a brand, what happens if the influencer promotes a competitor next month? So you have to make the founder or the MD or the person in charge think that, okay, this person understands my business, and he or she understands my pain points, okay, my commercial problems. And then you make an offer. You don't need to pay me anything upfront. This is key, guys. When we're just starting out, we need to build a referral pipeline. We are not chasing the big bucks on day one of starting this, okay? Please, tattoo that in your eyelids if you need to. We need to remember that this is what will compound. If you get 2, 3, 4, solid reviews from people that you've done sort of either pro bono or like sort of very low paid, just, token sort of charges for, they are going to, spread, you ask them to spread a word, or you give them like, a testimonial, ask them for a testimonial or a LinkedIn review. And then you say, would a 15-minute call be useful? I can share what clauses most travel brands miss. Giveaway, literally a free giveaway. Okay. Now, this is going to work so much better than a cold message where you sort of give out here how many years of PQ you have, and you've done this, that, though, all of that. And will you hire me or can I do this for you? This is going to work so much better. Similarly, for non-law professionals, you introduce yourself, what your background is, and what you do. In your day-to-day, I've handled and reviewed plenty of commercial contracts, how it gets messy, all this. Similar message, and it's just tailored for a non-law professional. But that's pretty much it, okay? Similarly, I can help you put a clear, well-structured template in place, okay? Here's my offer. And you specify this, no payment upfront. Use the template, see if it helps. And if you're happy with it, short testimonial or LinkedIn review is all I ask. Similarly, like a call to action. Would a 15-minute call be useful? I'll walk you through the few things, most brands miss. Boom. You've just made, given a free giveaway and a pitch that it's just going to be so hard for them to say no, right? Think about it. Work with agencies. Technique number 3. Now, we started off by talking about influencers, then brands, and now agencies they are almost aggregators of sort of, influencers themselves. So let's say, I'm going to show you how we use LinkedIn to do this again, okay? So I hope it's visible, but flag if not. So we are going to go here, and it's a bit slow, to be fair. Okay, we search for the words influencer marketing agency, okay? We search for the words influencer marketing agency, and then we're going to apply the very same, we go to companies, okay? Because we're looking at organizations, and then we apply the very same filters that we applied in the first instance. So try and find someone closer to home, okay? Let's say you're based out of Delhi, okay? You know why I'm doing this? I'm doing this so that, let's say tomorrow, if you have to go and meet someone in person, so you can do it. You don't want to pick someone in Kerala, for example, if you're sat in Delhi, because literally, why would you do that, right? So then you go company size, and then similarly, either you do 1 to 10, 11 to 50, and it's basically going to show you both types. And let's say you want to go to Wolf Media, okay? It's a Delhi-based influencer marketing agency. You go to their page, and you do the exact, you get an idea, okay? This is such a good sort of start. You see their website, you'll get an idea of the kind of work they do, the kind of influencers they represent, and the same process, right? You again, oh, there you go, brilliant. You've literally the founders right there. And then you do the same thing. You go to that person's profile, get a sense of, like, again, it's very easy to profile someone, for ethical purposes. You look at their profile, and then you get a sense of how this person is, and then you tweak your outreach message a little bit. That's all there is to it, guys. That's all there is to it. Now, come on, I want to hear from you. Is this doable? Is this something that you can apply, literally today, first thing tomorrow? Yes, love it. We love this energy. And this is a very quick success story. So this works. We're not making this up. A learner from our very last batch has attended his first live webinar. He sent his outreach email to influencers that same week and got a response. And then he submitted his finished client work. This is his profile. You could always search him, look him up on LinkedIn directly. Same webinar, same outreach, and this is literally how fast this works. And I know, guys, it's late, and I very much appreciate how much patience you've, how much you've bared with us today. I really appreciate it. And now we are going to give you an assignment. We're going to give you a homework. It's a draft influencer agreement, where we'll also share this in the chat. It's prepared for a beauty brand collaboration, but the agreement intentionally contains several, sort of legal, commercial, and drafting issues. Your task is to review the agreement as if you're advising the brand as an external counsel. You have to identify problematic clauses, missing protections. See, if you have an AI, do it with AI. But you know what? I genuinely believe I think it's going to be worth doing this yourself in the first instance, just to see where your understanding is, okay? Just as a sort of thought experiment. But please, by all means, feel free to use, AI and the prompts we'll share. And for every issue you identify, try to understand why it is risky, like how we did today, okay? This is a homework exercise, and how we're going to do this is we'll be sharing like a Google form in the group as well, in the WhatsApp group. Put your, reviewed sort of agreements there. We'll review your review and then we'll give you feedback on it. Sounds doable? Sounds doable? Yes. And I want, if all the people who stayed with us since the beginning, who were very keen to get into this, if y'all are still here, I will be personally looking out for your homework assignments, guys. The guys who were really impatient for this part of this, I will personally be looking out, okay? So that's the end of today's session. And the rest of the days are going to be, there's going to be more of this, guys. There's so much more to come for the next 7 days. I believe your next session is going to be day after tomorrow. But of course, the calendar is in your WhatsApp group description. If you want to refer, we'll obviously be sharing more readings, more quizzes, all of tomorrow, all of day after as well. And yeah, that's how we'll progress. And we'll see you in the next session. Okay? And I want to hear from you. How many of you are promising to come for all the sessions this week? Type, sort of promise in the chat box. We'll call it a night. Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's go. That's what we want. Okay? So that's it. That's it from us. And yeah, I'm happy for Bhumika to chime in if we have anything to add. I think we're good. Thanks, guys. Thank you for your feedback.
Hi, Narayani. I think we can take a few questions, right?
Oh, right. Of course. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
think
guys, floor is
try.
open, but the session is over, but the floor is open. So feel free.
I think meanwhile we were clearing all the doubts in the chat box only, but still, if you have any doubt further, you can please ask. PPT we will not be sharing, Priyanka. Like we definitely will give you all the reading materials and the relevant giveaways after the session. PPT we don't share. Prompt we'll be giving definitely. Once the session is over, I'll open the group for feedback. Once that's done, I'm going to provide you all the giveaways for today's session, all the Claude prompts and everything, even the messages that you have to send for outreach. For submitting the assignment, we'll be giving you a Google form, right? You can review that particular checklist, that whatever we will be providing it to you, and you can upload that same in the Google form. Okay, we'll be reviewing the same. Thank you so much, Tanya, for such a positive feedback. Shrishti, I don't understand your question. Is there room for more people to join now? Now the session is over. Okay. Mahesh, yeah, as Rajat is saying, nowadays everyone is taking AI assistance with a lot of technological advancement, I can see.
Yes, but
Diksha
short
is saying,
answer, yes. T1
yes,
firms are using it, but extremely responsibly.
correct. Diksha is saying, is this doable for someone who is a complete beginner to contract drafting with average skills? Definitely, Diksha. In fact, that's why we have chosen the influencer agreement. This is the most easiest agreement that you can start with. Yes, Bhavya, you can use these contracts that you will be drafting as a portfolio material to showcase how you do the work. Shweta, I'll be rewriting the assignment details in the group itself so that you understand what exactly you have to do, okay? Don't worry. Any further question, guys? You want me to share the website? Okay, wait, I'll just share the Rocket Reach. Which website can you please mention? I'll share the same in the chat box itself. Priyanka is asking for some website. Freelancing platforms. Okay. I will share the links. Narayani, you can, go through all the other questions if they have.
Sure. A few people, I don't know if this was already covered, but the assignment, of course, we'll have the details on the group as well. But we'll be giving you an agreement which is flawed, and you'll need to redraft it, review it, and correctly review it and share your review with us. I think Manan just briefly touched upon this. We would encourage you to go for sort of free work initially. Helps build a portfolio, helps build a network, and then once you have some good reviews and referrals, you can sort of snowball off of that.
All right. For PR agencies, sorry, for brands and for influencer, I've shared the link. And for PR agencies, you can search on LinkedIn, as Narayani has already explained it to you, by searching influencer marketing agency. Okay.
I think someone had raised an important question, Rosie Nath. Nowadays, people use AI to draft an agreement. In that case, how to reach out and convince them? I think that's so important. I think you need to incorporate that in your outreach message itself. Just say that, I guess reach out first, get that conversation, and then mention it ideally. But yeah, I believe that's how I would go about it. I don't think I would encourage putting that out in your outreach message itself, because what if they don't have an idea that they can use AI and you're giving them that idea, right?
Manan is asking a question like he has already done 10-15 contracts as of free, but now I get free paid clients, but how to quote prices? Is this your question, Manan? That we are going to cover in our upcoming sessions, first of all, regarding how you can quote your prices for the services for the part that you'll be doing. And like in the current session that we were teaching, we were also emphasizing upon, like, if you're doing your first work, try to get more and more recommendations on LinkedIn, and ask the people who you are working for more recommendations, to different influencers or agencies, so that you're actually visible to people that you are able to do these skills. Recommendations on to other influencers or other brands, firstly. Secondly, also there is this option of testimonials on LinkedIn. You can also add in that, so that your work should be visible in the virtual platform.
Yes, I think for those of you who don't have doubts, please feel free.
Om Shukla is saying must we open our freelance accounts like Upwork and everything, because LinkedIn is already made professional for office. Yes, definitely. And in fact, we have a session specially dedicated to Upwork and Fiverr, the third webinar I think we have already discussed. So just make sure to attend the same. We'll tell you how you have to do that. And we even have a LinkedIn optimization session as well. Ashutosh is asking something, how much stamp duty attract on how to register it? Do you mean on influencer agreement, Ashutosh, stamp duty on that? Is this your question?
I think that's basically just going to be dependent on the jurisdiction, right? There's a whole process that's going to be, Ashutosh, the same as literally any other agreement. It's going to be dependent on where the agreement is being executed, i.e. which state. Then you're going to look at the Stamp Act of that
Correct.
state, and the Central Stamp Act as well, to be sure. You're going to find out what type of agreement it is, and then usually it's going to be a percentage of the consideration. So that's how you'll calculate it, like any other agreement, basically.
Yeah, and there is no uniform stamp duty. Like, it varies state to state. Okay, I think there are no further questions. We have taken almost everything. Even if we have missed anything, guys, feel free to reach out to us. You have our numbers on the WhatsApp. Also, in the morning only, I've shared few details regarding the mentors and everything, so you can reach out to us, right? Okay, I think we can end this session now. It's already almost 10 p.m. Thank you so much for staying with us so long, and that shows great dedication, guys. And please make sure to attend all the sessions, right? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I think we can end this meeting, Narayani, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Record.
Social